How's it going, guys? So, look, wanted to spend a few minutes talking about jobs and not these monthly estimates that we seem to be getting that are really most of the time later revised down after the fact. But to be more specific, like what that information looks like for a place like the Nashville MSA, and specifically what we're looking at here is just Davidson County. Uh, and that's the most populous county in the MSA. And I'm showing here total private jobs, right? So when people talk about jobs, they're typically it's quoted for non-farm. Non-farm is a combination of basically the private sector and government jobs. So here we're just looking at private, and essentially what we're seeing. And remember, this is a straight full count of jobs. These aren't these sampled estimates, right? This is what the establishment survey gets re-anchored to on an annual basis. Really, what happens is like when job growth kind of like levels out, it's not growing. You're kind of like in a slowdown, and then things roll over, and you end up going into a recession. We're kind of at that point right now. So if I were to show this information, say like year over year, as I am over here, right? I mean, it's negative as of March. Remember, this data lags. This is the most recent cut of this data. It's as of 20 or March 2025. Now, but this is like remember, this is a just a line chart, just presented two separate ways, and I'm not even showing like, well, what does it look like for leisure and hospitality, healthcare, all those things. And once I do that, you're going to understand the issue. We already know that job growth is very weak, right? It's pretty obvious. But what does it look like across these different industries? So, look, I'll show that. So, again, the only thing I'm doing differently here is showing this information now for the more populous counties in the MSA, right? You can see that down here. And I'm showing it, the level of employees. So there's just over like what 800, maybe we'll call it 850,000 employees across these uh, five counties, but it's as a stacked bar chart. Now, just because I want everybody to just kind of follow along. By the way, the legend for both these charts, so this one and this one, is right here. If I show it as a line graph, maybe this will make more sense. Okay. So, really, like a lot of the growth has occurred in professional and business services, right? You see how significant that growth was really post 2010. So, outside of trade, transportation, utilities, and the private sector, professional and business services is the largest employment bucket, right? So, now, again, all I've done is I've stacked this information, each one of those industries on top of each other. So I'm really just showing the composition. Okay. Does that make sense? I could do the same thing over year as a line graph, and it's a little harder to see what's going on. So that's why I find that just showing this as a stacked bar chart, what you're seeing is a significant, right, slowdown. The entire private sector is completely dead outside of healthcare. So education and health services is primarily healthcare. And to spell that out a little bit, that stands for private education and health services. Private. Remember, a lot of government jobs are actually education related. So you don't just see it, that's a textbook recessionary trend. Said another way, this is one of the things that I come back to time and time again, and I say, what are we doing? What is going on? The unemployment rate is very low in the area, albeit in a well defined uptrend, still low, but we have an insanely weak labor market, right? Just go to the source, cut out the noise. I mean, the only thing that's growing right now is healthcare. And that's why that recruiter, is not calling you back. By the way, I'm zoomed in on this because of COVID when we shut down the economy, just so you can see the whole thing, right? You can see it through a proper cycle. And what happens? Healthcare is really the only thing that maintains any sort of growth through a recession because it's kind of recessionary proof. We're in a recession. People can't see it yet. And between this, something like retail sales, all the other things that I look at locally, even GDP numbers, it's just not great. If this looked different than it did, right, then I would have to obviously have a different, I guess, position on things. But that's the way it looks. Okay, so understand when you look at these more timely monthly sampled estimates of jobs and the unemployment rate and all those things, that there's a decent chance it's probably in fact I know it's not telling you what you think that it is. We have a very weak local economy, and a lot of the froth is in professional business services, but really everywhere. So anyway, all right, guys, that's all I got. I mean, if you're interested in just no nonsense fluff takes, it'd be great if you supported this channel. You know, I get annoyed by all of the bad non data driven takes out here. This is adequate context, and I know that some of you appreciate it. So that's why I do this. Um, anyway, I'll quit rambling. Have a good one.